Jim Jones. Who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family.
They're scared to hustle because niggas is snitching so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other nigga is snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he can't bear to be inside the jail system.
An old clip just hit the net, and it's straight up chaos. Jay-Z's voice is crystal clear calling Jim Jones a snitch. Yeah, he said it out loud, but here's where things get real messy. One of Jay's own top execs at Roc Nation already got exposed as a federal informant. So now folks are wondering, why is Harv out here throwing shade at Jim when his own camp ain't even clean? See, this ain't just about words. If you've been tracking the drama, Jim Jones has been on thin ice since that whole stunt he pulled coming at Nas. That move backfired hard. The internet went straight detective mode, pulling receipts from way back, accusing Jim of cooperating with the feds during some
Pass.
And when those documents started circulating again, whew, it got ugly fast. But here's the kicker. If Jay's really anti-snitch like he's always claiming, then why keep someone with Fed ties so close at Roc Nation? And more confusing, why give Jim a contract in the first place? If Jay believed Jim was fake or dirty, what was the play here? These contradictions ain't just rumors anymore, they're front page confusion. Let's take it back to that leaked audio, the one that lit the whole internet up. Jay wasn't subtle. He called Jim a fake rapper, flat out said he ain't even real competition. According to him, Jim's whole spot in the game ain't based on talent, albums, or bars. It's something deeper, maybe even darker. So now it's got people thinking, did Jay already know what was up before the rest of the world caught on? And if he did, then what's really going on at Roc Nation? Let's get into it. The rumors about Jim Jones being tied to the feds? Yeah, those whispers been lurking in the shadows for years. Leave it to 50 Cent to drag the whole thing back into the spotlight like a wrecking ball. He posted a straight-up savage photo on Instagram. Jim Jones chilling with Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and a few other heavy hitters. But it wasn't just the picture. It was that caption that lit the internet up. 50 wrote, LOL, individual one calling the shots out here. I know you working, so please don't say gangster-ish to me. Individual one. That wasn't just petty shade. That was a full-on public call-out with a side of sarcasm and smoke. So what was 50 really trying to say? It all circles back to the wild Tekashi racketeering case, the one that nearly blew hip-hop apart. While Tekashi was in court throwing his whole crew under the bus,
Jim Jones, man. Hip-hop, of course, you know, is a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like, Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. I was saying last night, it's like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even worried about you.
a wiretap popped up. And who was on the line? Jim Jones. In that call, Jim was caught telling someone that Tekashi wasn't gang no more and needed to be violated. That wiretap shook the streets to their core. Suddenly, all the old rumors about Jim started making sense to some folks. And 50, he didn't play it cool, not even close. He posted the whole transcript of that call out in the open for the entire world to read. No filters, no disclaimers, just raw receipts. This wasn't just gossip anymore. This was war on wax and online. Let's spin it back to 2018, when Tekashi's whole empire collapsed overnight. The feds came down hard, slapping him with federal racketeering and weapons charges alongside members of the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, one of the most feared and violent sets tied to the Bloods. It wasn't just a little bust, this was the real deal, and the streets knew it.
Brooklyn rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to federal charges, admitting he participated in a violent gang. He also pledged to cooperate with prosecutors. The rapper, whose legal name is Daniel Hernandez, said he joined the 9 Trey Blood Gang in the fall of 2017. He says he helped them try to kill a rival gang member last March. Prosecutors say the gang carried out acts of murder, robbery, and narcotics trafficking in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn. The indictment also said each gang member was required to participate in at least 2 acts of racketeering conspiracy, which could include murder, robbery, extortion, or drug distribution. The plea deal could allow Hernandez leniency at sentencing. He was facing a mandatory 47-year prison sentence.
The feds had been quietly stacking evidence for years, watching 9 Trey's every move. And when they finally made their move, Tekashi folded instantly, no hesitation. By September 2019, what the internet started calling the Snitch Fest was in full swing. Tekashi hit that witness stand like he was reading off a script, dropping names one after another. Anthony Harv Ellison, Aljamiah Nuke Mack, and a bunch of other high-ranking 9 Trey members. He basically handed prosecutors the gang's entire playbook on a silver platter. But here's where things took a dark turn. In the middle of all this chaos, a wiretap was played in open court, and guess who was allegedly on the call? Jim Jones. Yup, according to the transcripts, Jim was having a convo with Jamel Mel Murder Jones, one of 9 Trey's top dogs. Now, this ain't no loose speculation. This call was entered into federal evidence.
He definitely humiliating Shotty right now. But
well, you got the picture up there next to the post. You know, like when you go to YouTube and World Star, they got his picture next to this. Everything he say, they got a split screen with Shotty picture next to this. I said, this is crazy, son. But he's doing that to make K9 think he don't got no relationship with Boy. That's what he's trying to do. He trying to live. He trying to separate himself.
That's cool, but now he gotta get violated.
Yeah, super violated. Super duper. So ain't too much he can really do unless he gonna run around with 100 armed securities all day. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get shot at.
He ain't getting enough money for that.
That's a fact. And he just canceled all his shows.
And he ain't a gang member no more.
Nah, he ain't nothing.
That's what Shotty needs to make sure he do.
Nah, we
tell that he's not a gang member no more. He kicked out the whip. He was never a gang member. Shotty need to expose him.
Jim was allegedly telling Mel Murder that Tekashi wasn't gang no more and needed to get violated. That right there, that tied Jim's name directly into a federal racketeering case without him ever being charged. And people been asking ever since, how'd he walk away untouched? So here's the wild part. Jim Jones and Mel Murder were caught on tape plotting what to do with Tekashi after he publicly disrespected the set and claimed he was out. That phone call, it wasn't just casual talk. Jim allegedly said straight up that Tekashi needed to be violated.
Of Rock Nation, Desiree Perez.
Good evening, everyone.
I say shout out to Desi. Shout out to Desi. She got me out the contract.
Rock Nation.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Desiree.
Okay.
You know about this?
Nah.
Desiree Perez became a cooperating witness for the DEA in the 1990s. She got arrested in 1994 for possession of 35 kilos of cocaine.
Desiree Perez and the whole wicked system of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter.
That leaked audio had everybody's head spinning, not just because Jim's voice was linked directly to 9 Trey's top hitters, but because it opened up one huge question. How the hell did Jim Jones end up on a federal wiretap talking gang business and still walk away untouched? As soon as Tekashi's courtroom circus wrapped, the streets went into detective mode. People started asking what seemed way too obvious to ignore. Jim was allegedly on tape, clear as day, saying someone should get handled. So why was he the only 9 Trey affiliate not facing charges? Not even a slap on the wrist. It just didn't sit right with folks. And that's when the quiet whispers started turning into loud rumors. Some began speculating that Jim might have been working with the feds behind closed doors, or at the very least, cooperating just enough to dodge that courtroom heat. No indictment, no charges, no questioning. In a case that swallowed up almost everyone else, it raised way too many eyebrows, and the streets haven't stopped side-eyeing him since.
Jim Jones, right? He ran with the same I ran with a decade before I met him. Jim Jones, the Dipset, the that was just over there dancing on verses. Jim Jones was running with Shotty, Cafano Jordan, right? Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, Ro Murder, Roland Martin. He was running Fu Banger, Fuquan. I forgot his last name, Fuquan something. He was running with all of the cats I ran with and got his daddy for. You know what Jim Jones did? That nigga did not take care of none of them. Cause when I ran to them, Shotty was sleeping on the rug Madison between Tompkins and Troop. Mel Murder was on Gates and Marcus Garvey with his baby mother. Roland Martin was just doing 9 years. He blew trial. That make them. That take care of him. From Shotty was sleeping on the rug. That driving a 6'3" Benz in 6 months, living in a condo, doing meetings with Kanye. Kanye was taking him to Yeezy meetings, board meetings. Matrix had his own, everything on his own. His kids was eating. Roland Martin came on to a new AP, watch, money, cars, everything. That Jim Jones did not take care of none of his. I took care of him. And on top of that, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap telling John Mel, look, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap. Jim Jones was caught on wiretap on my case, he was telling the big homie Mel Matrix, John Mel Jones, to go and get rid of my security. How you do it? How you shoot at them? They don't got no license to carry weapons, don't nothing in New York.
Wack also agrees with him and says that you can find the audio online because it was used in the trial. 6ix9ine and Wack both question why Jim Jones isn't in jail if he was caught on tape saying he was going to kill 6ix9ine, suggesting that he must have cooperated in the trial. 6ix9ine also starts making some accusations about Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation, but Wack shuts him down before he can say too much.
Nobody pushed the Jim Jones is working with the feds theory harder than Wack 100. He flat out called Jim a federal informant, point blank. According to Wack, the only reason Jim never saw the inside of a cell was because he was cutting deals and making moves behind the scenes with law enforcement. And let's be clear, Wack didn't just say it once and move on. Nah, he kept that same wild energy in every clubhouse session, every interview, and even when he was face-to-face with Tekashi. Wack dared Jim to clear his name, show receipts, deny it, say something. But Jim, he stayed silent. Not a word, not a tweet, nothing. And you already know what silence sounds like in this game. It only makes people talk more. Then it got even messier. A former member of Dipset came out swinging with her own bombshell. She claimed to have actual receipts showing that Jim allegedly set up his own boy, Mel Murder. That accusation added a whole new layer of grime to the situation. Folks started looking at Jim not just as a possible informant, but as someone willing to flip on his own crew to save himself.
Jimmy, Detective Jones, people that splash brand do not f with no informants. I did 4 years in the feds, homie, because I ain't snitch. You set your best friend up on a wiretap. See, Wack 100 and Tekashi, they don't got receipts like that because they really don't know.
So now that we've unpacked all this snitch drama surrounding Jim, we gotta spin it back to Jay-Z. Because if Jay really just lined Jim up for a public takedown, then this beef runs way deeper than what's on the surface. This ain't new smoke. Jay and Jim been clashing for years. Their bad blood goes all the way back to the early 2000s. The first big spark, that came in 2002 when Dame Dash brought Cam'ron and GM into Rockefeller Records. That's when things started getting tense. Jim claimed Cam was promised a vice president position at the label, but Jay never backed that up. In fact, he told the source at the time, that's not taking effect as of yet. I think the talk is a little premature. Translation? Jay wasn't rocking with it, and Cam and Jim felt that disrespect right away. And to top it off, all this tension was brewing while Jay was already deep in that beef with Nas. Drama everywhere. So what did Jay-Z do next?
I did a little something for you in the studio. Then he had something to Old Boy.
This is Old Boy's already #1?
Yeah, it's popping.
All right.
Yeah, I listened to it and I was like, erase that shit.
He tried to slide in slick by hopping on a remix of Cam'ron and Joel Santana's smash hit, Oh Boy. But instead of keeping it light, he used the track to throw subs at Nas. Cam and Jim, they weren't fooled for a second. They saw straight through Jay's move and shut it down. Cam even yanked Jay's whole verse off the record and later said he wasn't about to let Jay hijack their moment just to air out his personal beef. And that was the spark that blew the fuse. From that point on, Cam and Jim felt like Jay never truly respected them. The vibe was off and things turned icy quick. That's when the sneak disses started flying hard. Jim Jones began shading Jay everywhere. Radio interviews, magazines, even on stage. He painted Jay as this polished corporate dude who had no real ties to the streets. Too clean, too distant, and definitely not built like the ones holding it down for the culture.
First of all, let's get right to it. There seems to be some drama. You and The Rock, Jay-Z, you try to diss. You did diss him.
I just nobody.
You dissed him.
I dissed Michael Jordan.
Oh man, we just having fun out here. There's no drama, man. No, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Shout out to Dame Dash, who started Rockefeller Records. If y'all don't know, he's responsible for Rockefeller getting off the floor. That started in Harlem. You know what I'm talking about?
Jim positioned himself as the real one, loyal, gritty, and connected to the block. No sellout vibes, no switching sides, just straight street code. And the real kicker? Back then, Jim was loud about his stance on snitches. He made it crystal clear. He didn't rock with anybody who cooperated with the feds. So fast forward to today with all these wiretap rumors and informant talk, yeah, it makes everything hit way different now. At first, Jay-Z played it cool, no public clapbacks, just silence. But behind the scenes at Rockefeller, the tension was thick. Everybody could feel it. Then 2006 came around and Jim dropped We Fly High, a monster hit that took over the charts. And guess what? That success clearly hit a nerve because Jay finally bit back with a remix called Brooklyn High.
And hustling like they need to, you dig? And they ain't keeping it funky like they used to. So I don't understand. Maybe scared to hustle because snitches so much. Maybe that's just what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he can't bear to be inside the jail system. Now the to say not nothing to brag about when I was coming up. Kind of happy to go to jail to say they did something tough, even though I never been behind the walls myself. But my I be around, there used to be a bragging point. Like I just came home at. That was when we was young. Nowadays, you punks are scared to go in and do the damn.
But Jim, he wasn't about to let that slide without swinging back hard. Jim Jones didn't waste a second. He clapped right back with the We Fly High beef mix, and he was coming for blood. No subliminals, just direct smoke for Jay-Z. He attacked his age, his image, the whole brand, with lines like, told your old A to chill, better slow down before your old age gets killed. Jim wasn't just rapping, he was throwing straight disrespect. And this wasn't just about the music anymore, it got real quick. By 2008, the tension spilled out the booth and into the streets. Things got wild when security footage surfaced of Jim Jones putting hands on someone inside a Louis Vuitton store. And the target? None other than Lenny Santiago, Jay-Z's longtime A&R and one of his closest industry allies. That moment was not random. It was a bold move, and people instantly knew it wasn't about fashion. It was about beef.
Brooklyn get tape up, no big things. We chase around, they all ball game. It's over for you lames. Give me back the chain, it's over for you.
Jim got arrested for the incident and later pled guilty to misdemeanor assault. But the message had already been sent. It was personal now. Jay still didn't respond directly at first, but a few months later, he finally threw a jab in an XXL interview, and it was spicy. He started by dragging certain tracks for bringing the culture down, but then dropped the name anyway, saying, I mean, like Jim Jones, for example, and I don't mean this just because we never see eye to eye. From there, Jay did not hold back. He clowned the Dipset anthem, We Fly High, comparing it to Trey Songz' Smiley Face and even tossed Soulja Boy in the mix. Translation? Jay basically said Jim's biggest hit sounded like ringtone rap for the kids. And coming from Hav, that was a low blow. Jay-Z didn't just respond, he clowned Jim hard. He mocked the We Fly High chorus, saying it might as well have been called Smiley Face Part 2. That hit different coming from Hav, especially since he'd barely acknowledged Jim in public before. The disrespect was loud, and it stung. After that, the beef simmered down for a bit, but only for a moment. In 2015, Dipset came swinging again. Cameron and Jim jumped on a freestyle over Diddy's classic Victory beat, and they were bold with it. No coded lines, no mystery. They dragged Jay straight up, took shots at Rock Nation, and even dissed the now famous Rock Nation brunch. They painted Jay as soft, too polished, too far gone from the block to keep claiming street cred. The message was clear, you're not one of us anymore.
Another former rival who was relying on Hov's team to steer his career, as Dipset's Jim Jones is allegedly heading over to Rock Nation. Capo posted a picture of bottles of Douce and Ace of Spades next to a Rock Nation letterhead on IG and told fans to caption this.
But then, out of nowhere, Jim did a full 180. After over a decade of beefing, in February 2017, Jim Jones suddenly started begging to be part of Jay-Z's world. Yup, after 13 years of nonstop disrespect, he officially signed with Rock Nation. But here's the wild part. Jim didn't play it low-key. He went loud with it. He bragged about finally getting invited to that Rock Nation brunch, the same event he used to drag. Now, he was grinning ear to ear, posting selfies, showing off suits and throwing nothing but praise at Jay. The same man he used to call out for being fake and disconnected, now he was calling him a legend and showing him mad love. Jim went from bashing the Roc Nation brand to being one of its loudest cheerleaders. It was a full flip. But Jay-Z, he kept it icy. No quotes, no welcome post, just stone cold silence.
If anybody getting handsome checks, it should be us. Cocaine, we did that. Things the same as you.
Jay-Z barely even blinked when Jim signed that Roc Nation deal. No welcome post, no flashy photo op, no public celebration, nothing. Hav kept it strictly business, making it crystal clear. This wasn't some heartfelt reunion or deep friendship. This was a power move, and he made sure the world knew it. He wasn't trying to sell unity, he was staking his dominance. And here's where things get juicy. Word on the street, this wasn't about peace, it was chess. See, Jay's been playing this quiet strategy for years, absorbing his enemies one by one. Just look at the pattern. The Likes, Fat Joe, Meek Mill, even J. Cole, all had tension or rocky moments with Jay before ending up under the Roc Nation umbrella. And now Jim, same treatment. But even after the ink dried on that deal, Jay kept his distance. No collaborations, no shout-outs, no public alignment, just cold paperwork. And that made people start asking, was Jay keeping Jim at arm's length to protect Roc Nation's image? Especially with that Tekashi wiretap still haunting Jim's name, the streets didn't forget. The rumors were still floating heavy, and Jay wasn't about to let that heat spill onto his empire. Now here's where it gets real sticky. Jay's whole image is built on the idea that he doesn't rock with snitches. That's always been part of his code. But let's not forget, Roc Nation's president, Desiree Perez, is a confirmed federal informant. That's not gossip. It's documented. Public record.
All right. Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we've passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear a wire for the DEA. Quick side note, Desiree Perez is a name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once a has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Now, around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Roc Nation's prison reform initiative with Meek Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the outgoing president, Donald Trump.
So if Jay is comfortable keeping a known informant as the top boss in his company, why would he ice out Jim Jones over rumors of snitching? That's when a deeper theory started circling. What if this isn't about loyalty at all? What if Jay's real game is control, power? Maybe he ain't picking sides. Maybe he's owning both. Jay never needed Jim. Not then, not now. But Jim, he needed Jay bad. That Roc Nation stamp was everything to him. And when Jim's name popped up in those wiretaps linked to 9 Trey, Jay did what he always does best. He protected the brand. No statements, no defense, just silence and distance, cold and calculated. So maybe the issue was never about Jim possibly snitching. Maybe Jay wasn't mad that Jim cooperated. Maybe he was mad that Jim wasn't doing it for him. Think about that. Let it sink in. Because if that theory holds weight, it flips the whole script. What really drives Roc Nation? Is it about music? Is it about loyalty, integrity, or is it just straight up business, no matter how shady it gets? Jay's playing chess, not checkers. And to some folks, this looks like he's been using the board however he sees fit. So now it's on you. What do you believe? If you rocked with this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear the real story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on? Jim's, Jay's, or are they both just playing the game? Either way, this one's far from over. Catch you in the next one.